But what we have to first talk about, what I'd like to talk about when it comes to driving change, reform in this democratic political economy, is to say that the highest office in the land is the office of the citizen. And whether you're in government or you are not in government, you're a citizen. And you owe it to yourself, if you want to transform this economy, to participate. So the first thing, to your point, is that of participation. From a private sector perspective, the private sector must organize itself. You must have a lobby group or lobby mentality in a democratic society. We did that, of course, in this ecosystem. I was the pioneer board chairman of AfriLabs, which today organizes all the innovation hubs in Africa, over 500 of them across the 54 countries. And I remember when we started, what I preached then was the imperative of organizing ourselves. And then we can push an agenda. And one of those agendas we pushed as AfriLabs, and of course even here in Nigeria, was the startup bill. Yet it might not have achieved all what we wanted to achieve, but it was a private sector that pushed and initiated that in order to drive change and reform in the digital ecosystem. And more of that needs to happen. We need to organize ourselves. We need to focus on the implementation. Once bills and laws are passed through our efforts, we also need to tackle it from the perspective of manning those implementation with our people. So we can't just do reform, we can't just lobby for reform, and then the execution, we pull back and all go to our separate businesses. We have a key role to play in implementation. Ultimately also, we must invest. This is our country. Nobody will fix this country or this continent for us. Forget whatever Donald Trump might be saying about what he wants to do. He's not here to help you, and it's not going to help you. If we want to have change, and if we want to improve the society that we're in, it is those of us here that will invest. When I took on my role at the Presidential CNG Initiative, I was very clear that the work of government was to incentivize the green economy. It was not the work of government to replace what the private sector is supposed to be doing. And that was why one of the critical pillars in our mandate that was set for us by Mr. President was to stimulate and to incentivize investment. In just 12 months, we incentivized $1 billion worth of investment into the CNG sector. We're all witness to that. Dangote today has gone from just mere 3,000 fleet of trucks using CNG to over 10,000 of them, and many more. As a result, even my brother here was discussing with me, he's now setting up daughter stations, he's now setting up opportunities that will employ the youth, leveraging the resources that Nigeria has in an abundance, which is gas, and we are wasting. But the private sector must invest. If we do not invest in our own country, if our first instinct is to run away to Japa instead of looking at this environment and saying this is the land of opportunity, and if I do not invest, if I do not fix the problem here, then nobody will fix it for me, then we cannot succeed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mr. Rex, I think the next question goes to you. So across the globe, when you look at the qualities of the universities, the setup, the educational system as a whole, is a reflection of that country. Okay, so when we're talking about green digital economy, how do we get our universities to have more and more research perhaps around this? I understand that you're not coming from the academia, but you have extensive experience in education and teaching. How do we ensure that all these universities are actually actively taking part in solving some of these problems, and how can they take advantage of the opportunity that lies ahead?
Well, thank you very much for that question. By the nature of my work and the interaction with different universities as well as polytechnics in the country, the first thing is first we must understand the power of R&D in nation building, and you can't talk about research and development without talking about our institutions. And at the university level, we must understand that whatever our investment is in terms of research and development must be taken outside the university environment, must be taken outside the university campus, and must be taken to the market. In other words, it must be commercialized. And in commercializing those products, it makes people, both the citizen, the government, to begin to appreciate the power of research and development. But beyond that is the fact that there must be a deliberate action within the university or the academic community in terms of green economy, in the sense that if you go to most of our institutions today, you find out that you have old systems, some don't even have new systems, and you can talk about green economy where you're not talking about recycling of some of the tools that either are outdated in terms of investing in electronic waste management, and that research must come from the university. We have a lot of electronic waste. By virtue of at a point I was chairing Nigeria Computer Society Abuja, which is an umbrella body for IT community in Nigeria, and it has a tripartite relationship with government, with the private sector, and the academia. And we had something as a pilot. We wrote to all MDAs in Abuja saying that you do have computers, and almost every year you have a budget for procurement of new systems. So what we did was to write to them for them to donate those old computers. And we brought some young guys together. Every weekend we meet in my office then. And we work on these systems, all right? Some of them that possibly were pushed in one store before were reactivated for use. And thereafter we donated these computers to the six local governments within FCT, from Buhari to Amak to Abaja and the likes. So that tells you the power of research. If our universities, if our polytechnics can begin to think inwards and have some sort of nano e-waste management center in the community where they operate, so that we can convert some of this electronic waste into a viable product that can be reused for the growth of, for the safety of the community. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. So my next question goes to Dr. Stephen. I would like you to tell us what are the biggest barriers that we have. I'm sure we know about them, but beyond that, if you can tell us how best we can optimize, like how best we can scale with this green digital economy that we are talking about.
Yeah, barriers and scaling. Nii Yusuf has left. He said something very interesting. He said, leave government alone. You know, it's very, very tempting to say that, especially if you experience certain things. But my work with various countries in emerging markets, you know, helps me to understand how important policy is to this conversation. And honestly, one big barrier is policy. Most of the times, policy or policy institutions are mandate focused, they are not outcome focused. You know, with the best of intention, NIDA is expected to deliver certain things. NCC is expected to deliver certain things. The central bank is expected to deliver certain things. So you see, while everybody is working to achieve their mandate, we are not really getting the value, you know, the way we should get the value. And that is why gathering like this is very important. There's one reference in this country that is very good, national financial inclusion. So almost all stakeholders have a direction of travel because there's that convening that at least puts everybody together in one direction. And that's the value that institutions like NESG can bring to this, bring everybody together so that you begin to have that outcome-based conversation as against mandate-based conversation. The second thing that we need to address, in my former life, I headed financial inclusion for the Central Bank of Nigeria.
How many left do you have?
So I try to, you know, I had a lot of interaction with fintechs. Someone will come to you, very fantastic solution. But the thing is, because I understand financial inclusion problem, I know that this is not going to address our problem. So it's a conversation with emerging technologies and buzz phrases like green. So you see a lot of aggregation around solutioning without actually understanding what the problem is. So one biggest barrier is there's hardly deliberate effort to really understand this problem before we start talking about solution and the money that is in the solution. Okay. Because that's where most of this, there are a couple of things I can talk about. The next is incentive. But for the want of time, I will just, I'll prioritize policy and a focus on understanding the problem. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So the way I look at Africa, I feel that Africa has two, sub-Saharan Africa, that is, like, from remove the northern African countries. If you make Nigeria work, it can easily scale across whole of West Africa and perhaps east of Africa and maybe Central Africa. Then on the other hand, we have South Africa as well. If you make South Africa work, it can have influence over the southern part of Africa. Now, having given you that context, how can we make this conversation, how can we spread it to West Africa? Let's just keep it simple, just West African region. Barrister, I would like to give you that question. How can we engage our brothers in the West African region so that as we go up, we pull them as well? Because I believe that Nigeria is a regional hub, but how can we make it more deliberate?
Let's invite much of them to the next Intech Summit.
Baba, are you there? Rapporteurs.
So, or perhaps...
Round of applause, please.
Or perhaps we take the Intech Summit to them, speaking about the digital economy. So I expect that the Intech Summit is being streamed live globally. So we expect that they are all attending. And you could see that we are also reducing the carbon footprint. They don't need to travel, and Africa is learning. But I think more deliberately, I think that's for the entrepreneurs and for those who have been fortunate to have made a head start quickly. We all need to sort of band it together, all right, and sort of reach back and give back to the younger ones, right? The under 35s that are done, which I understand that constitute 60% of the population. I know it's not easy. They especially, I don't want to call disease, you know what I'm talking about, right? So sometimes it's not easy. Mentoring is not easy, training, but like I said in my first intervention, and I think Engineer Oluwabami said so, the solution to all of this is never tech first. It's never even processes second. It's always people. It's always people. We are the center of it. Forget AI, forget all the conversations. It's always us. So if we have a way to, using platforms like this, to encourage one another, to inspire one another into greater, like I said again, innovation, I don't see us not scaling as quickly as possible. And I think, like someone said earlier, I think the very first step is for us to absolutely believe that we can do it. We don't need the Americans, we do not need. And I like to share this, sorry, just 1 minute. I like to share this good story everywhere I go. In this country, about 7, 8 years ago, in the tax technology space, right, it was all confusing. In actual fact, you know what? We went to the Canadians. There's a company called the Canada Software Development Company, CSDC. We gave them millions of our dollars to do what? To build us platforms to organize our tax space. But then came along a certain gentleman who led the FRS and said, look, why are we paying them? Let's bandy our young stars together. And in this country, we produced the Tax Pro Max that today, right, is automated tax generation. We didn't just stop there. Today, we're talking about fiscalization where as you're generating your invoices, government is collecting its VAT or government is seeing its VAT, right? We call it the e-invoicing scheme. That, again, was built by us in this country. There's a certain fantastic gentleman known as Mohammed Bauer who leads it at the FRS there. So what are we saying? And if we've done it in Nigeria, we need to export it to the rest of Africa. I think we have our answers, and the answers is all of us here seated. Thank you.
Thank you for that response. So my key takeaway from your response is nobody would come and save us, so we have to save ourselves. And a lot of the solutions that we keep flying to advanced countries for, we have the capacity to actually build them. We just need to look inward and raise the talents by ourselves.
And invest.
And invest.
Put the money on the table.
Yeah, put the money on the table. Very, very important. We can't have conversations, honest conversations, without the money. So I would like to give an opportunity for everyone to just give us their final thoughts, because our panel's conversation is coming to an end, sadly. Left for me, I would have pulled this conversation till like dinner time, because it's a very interesting one. It's one that we all have something we want to say. We all have something we want to say, but time is not on our side. So I'll allow everyone to give us, in a minute or two, just a closing remark. Then perhaps we'll take a question or two from the audience. So let's start from you, sir.
All right. Yeah, I think the green digital economy has to be human-centered. So human-centered design is what ultimately ensures sustainability. Sustainability is not cradle to grave, it's cradle to cradle. It is ensuring that we utilize resources in current time to meet current needs without denying the future generation of people to meet their own need at their own time with the resources that should be available to them. But that requires us to put human beings in the center of our design. So when I heard through the morning conversations around AI, I really do sincerely hope that we're not talking about artificial intelligence, but we're talking about African intelligence. That we're talking about how do we solve the problems of terrorism. I saw some of my panelists then avoiding the question. Terrorism now lives amongst us. Just a few moments ago, we got notice that another set of children were kidnapped in the Ekiti local government, again, of Kwara State. Just the local government next to me. I am in a Kole local government of Ekiti State, but this is Ekiti State local government, Ekiti local government of Kwara. So it's eating home. So we need, as a people, need to figure out how do we use technology, digital technology, to solve these real life, real world problems. We have problems with our borders. We need to have border control, and digital technology can solve that. We have problems with our security and our policing, with communication, and digital technology can solve that. We have problems with governance, especially local governance, when it comes to our schools, our health clinics, and ensuring that governance at the local level is responsive. And we can use digital technology to also solve that. But ultimately, we need people that are aligned, that believe in their country, and that believe that this country has a manifest destiny to rescue the black race from poverty and penury as the biggest, richest black nation the world has ever known. So we as Nigerians have a special responsibility to the black race.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Mr. Rex?
Well, for me, while I agree with you that it has to be human-centric, we need to also put into consideration our local context. We need to understand that different environments have different problems. So when we talk about green digital economy, we need to look at the peculiarity of our environment. And also, everybody needs to come on board, from the academia to the private sector. That must be deliberate in terms of investment in the system as well as policy from government. Government must have policies that support private initiatives, and government must allocate adequate funding for research and development in our institutions so that we can have what we can proudly say is our own way of managing the green digital economy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Stephen?
Thank you very much. I'll continue with the people and human-centered conversation. This is about addressing negative human conditions. And again, in my former life, I was a techie. There's always a temptation to focus on technology. Technology in itself does not have an intrinsic value. What we've done very well in traditional IT and even project management is to ask ourselves, who is the stakeholder? What is their problem? In order to find a solution for the economy that is sustainable, be it digital, be it AI, you really want to focus on the negative human condition you are solving for, not the mastery of technology or the value of the money that you find in it. So if we put our eyes on the negative human condition, we're going to go far in addressing this. Yes, and I support spreading intake even to neighboring countries next year, so that we can have a broader conversation. Thank you.
I think my last words is for Egmont Taufik. So you were not here, you were outside when we said it. This audience, right, this is not your audience alone, right? The audience should be global, starting from Africa. Yeah.
So thank you very much. I mean, some people are beginning to think, okay, how do we extend this conversation to the broader part of Africa? In my opinion, there are lots of similar networks such as this across Africa, everybody working in silos. So we need to find them and perhaps start inviting them into conversations like this. We need to make that deliberate effort. But once we start doing that conversation, then we can scale. Just yesterday, I was having a conversation with Taufik. Was, okay, look, how do we take this conversation to the US? How do we take it to Rwanda? Okay, it's baby steps, it's possible. And once we start that, then the sky is we have no limit. Let me put it that way. So thank you. Partnership and collaboration. Nobody can do it alone, and Nigeria cannot do it in silos, but Nigeria can detect the pace in which Africa develops through this green digital economy. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So questions from the audience? 2 questions, tops. You, sir.
Hello, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nuruddin Haiba. I'm really, really happy to be here for the first time, and I'm really satisfied with all the panelists. Starting from the gentleman representing the DG of NIDA that started talking about energy, sustainable energy, down to the 4 panelists and the speaker himself. I am really, really excited to be here. My question is, for the panelists, you've all been talking about solar and CNG. You've forgotten one thing we have in abundance here in Nigeria: kinetic energy, piezoelectricity. We have markets, we have a lot of people roaming about, which they can generate that energy for us. And we have the raw materials. We have quartz in abundance that we're not even using it. I'm thinking if we as individual entities and those tech giants and individuals like you here can try to channel or just view in that direction, honestly, there's a lot to be done there. There's a lot to gain, because it's less to 0% in maintenance. And we walk in every day. We go to schools, we go to markets, we go to offices, we go to bus stops, bus station, train stations. These are all applications that we can use, and it doesn't take you anything. You wake up early in the morning, you run out for jogging, physical fitness. By doing that, you're generating electricity, sustainability, digital economy. Well, that's a little bit of my contribution. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Last question.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, sir, for addressing the question I asked earlier, because I believe security is eating us very deep. And maybe because it has not got into our doorstep, we might be looking away. And Nigeria is our business, so we have to take it very seriously. Now, I think I have a recommendation for Intech. Since we want to expand our tentacles to other parts of Africa and even the global community, we can look at the angles of partnership with Africa Internet Governance Forum. I believe they are doing some things around what we are doing so that it also amplify our work. Thank you very much.
So thank you. Who wants to respond to from the
Briefly,
panelists?
please. Okay.
Or yes,
Just one, very brief, please.
Thank you. My name is Ali Al-Kali, and I must thank the moderator for coming up with an issue that has been, for a very long time, itching me about the academia and industries. I would like to read my question so that I will not miss anything. Academia and industry are moving in parallel rather in harmony. Students who excel academically still struggle to find meaningful employment. exposing a persistent mismatch between what universities teach and what industry require. Today's labor market demand real-time practical skills, not theory alone. In your view, Mr. Rex, my question is to you. How should the federal government strategically invest in R&D to produce impactful solutions that align universities with industry's needs and finally bridge this gap? Thank you.
So who wants to go first?
Let me respond to, permit me and don't be offended, I'll call you Mr. Kinetic. All right, you got a great idea, so just express it in writing. Sorry, you have lofty hink here, so perhaps you want to grab him. But then, I mean, the idea has to make a lot of sense. And for all innovators here who have beautiful ideas, ideas are a dime a dozen. Ideas don't rule the world. Don't forget it, it's not. It's the actions you take and the lessons you learn in the process. So you first start, right? Look for, if you're not from an engineering background, collaborate with an engineer, write it down, let someone validate your ideas, because you don't want to send it to him when it's not properly prepared. It'll be thrown out, right? So just go write it out. Just go write it out, and then start pitching it, right? Well, as you're pitching it, right, don't stop there. Just start working it, right? You'd never get it well formed, right, with foresight. You always get it well formed with the benefit of hindsight after you've taken moves. So I wish you the best.
So that's a call to engineers in the room, perhaps if you want to collaborate with him, because there's room for that kinetic to explore that side of. Yes, please.
So it's interesting that you mentioned me. 2002, when I was my first internship at NASA in the United States, when I was an undergrad. My research topic was on piezoelectricity and shape memory alloys application for space missions. So I know one or two things about piezoelectricity. And I think it's an interesting idea. Japan and a few other countries are already exploring the use of piezoelectricity for mass generation from kinetic activities of humans. I think, like I said, for every idea, I always say this, that the number one abortion clinics in the world is our mind. We abort our own ideas because we don't put it into action. So you need to get to work and test it. You don't have to test it in the global environment of Nigeria. Let's say you live in an estate or an apartment complex. Set up a mechanism to harvest kinetic energy of your occupants of your apartment, and then see what applications you can put that to. And then when you demonstrate it, then there will be potential off-takers that will look to supporting or backing your idea. And then maybe you're not even solving the problem for Nigeria, you're solving the problem for the world. I have to say this, that we live in a country with abundance of energy sources. We are energy poor not because of a lack of sources. We are energy poor because we've not harnessed what God has given to us. Nigeria has 1/3 of Africa's gas reserves. Nigeria has abundance of hydrological formations. In fact, 30 of our 36 states are named after water, from Benue to Delta to Lagos to Osun. I can continue. I can even name a random state, and I will mention the name of a water or lake, and those are sources of electricity, right? We don't have abundance of radiation, abundance of wind, and all of these yet has not translated to energy wealth for Nigeria. It is not for the lack of the source, it's for the lack of harnessing it.
Thank you,
and we
sir.
need your generation to get to work so that we can harness those forms of energy to ensure prosperity for all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, gentlemen. That concludes our panel conversation. Thank you.
Thank you
can take
very
it
much.
offline.
Yes, so please, you'd wait behind for gifts and photographs. So please, while the photographs are going on, please, could we move forward? If there's an empty seat in front of you, please, could you occupy it? We'll soon be done. spell coconut because we have some so you would not want to be spelling while others are sitting. Okay, so can we have a C? You stretch while you're putting the C. Can we have the C? Can we have O? Can we have another C? Try and stretch when you're doing the C. Can we have O? N. Make sure you're stretching. That's the idea. N. Can we have a U? Can we have a T? Give ourselves a round of applause. Thank you very much. We may all be seated. So we'll move very quickly to our virtual fireside chats with the Nigeria Data Protection Commission. It's going to be on regulatory and ethical frameworks for artificial intelligence and data governance. So we'll have the video play now. Thank you.
National Commissioner, sir. You're welcome to the fireside chat
Thank you
with
very
NDPC.
much. Thank you.
We welcome you to this fireside chat, and because of the importance of your organization, we decided to have this this side event within the event with you. Thank you very much for honoring our invitation.
You're welcome.
And we're going to be speaking to the regulatory and ethical framework for AI and data governance. Because of the work that your organization, your commission is saddled with, we're looking at how the regulatory framework that we're creating around, artificial intelligence, especially in the digital economy, to see how the commission is creating the framework and the governance around it. So my questions are very simple. How can Africa develop regulatory framework that innovation without stifling it?
Thank you very much. I think the most important thing is for us to create a balance. But one, the reality on ground is that there's no escape from AI. But responsible use of AI is what should be paramount to us. And if you recall, in May, we brought all the data protection authorities in Africa to Abuja.
Yes.
And the main focus was balancing privacy and innovation. Yes, we want to innovate to get things done in a new way, to be part of what is happening at the global level. At the same time, we want to preserve the privacy of citizens, data subjects, you and I. And if you look at emerging technologies, they are immutable in the sense that when you put data, it is very, very difficult to erase them. Whereas erasure is one of the rights of a data subject.
Yeah.
So how do you now balance this? And that is why most innovators, they see regulations as a way of stifling innovation.
Yeah.
But we are coming from the perspective of the fact that we are regulated to stimulate growth, to create confidence, to give comfort to data subjects, and at the same time, disrupt their city structure and get things done in a new way. You need to create trust, you need to create confidence of data subjects in whatever you are deploying globally. And that is why in data privacy, there is a part that is referred to as data privacy by design. That is right from the ideation stage, you start thinking of how do I measure the area of privacy in this application that I'm trying to develop. And that is data privacy by design. We have it in our guide, that's the General Application and Implementation Directive issued on the 19th of March 2025. We did a kind of experiment with DAL, one of the development partners operating in Nigeria. We had 9 innovators from different states. We had from Kano, Kaduna, Gombe, and Lagos. They developed some ideas in the area of, I think there was one on maternal mortality. There's another one, access to health care. There was also another one in the financial sector. What they did was to bring all of them together. They never knew anything about privacy, but we gave them data protection officers to train them. We even had some of our staff that went to Lagos to sit with them, train them about data privacy, incorporating data privacy, what they are doing. By the time they came out, and with the work of the DPOs that work with them, they probably understood the concern being raised, especially in the area of privacy when you are developing new applications. And to a large extent, they came out better, and they were able to fully incorporate data protection privacy by design, and they carry out DPIA, data protection impact assessment, to do a thorough evaluation of the solution they are developing and evaluate possible or likely breaches that may occur, and also identify ways of mitigating and even ensuring that such breaches don't come up at all. So we presented this in Cape Town. That was about a month ago, and it was applauded globally. So these are ways of even testing what we are preaching. Yeah. To say, how can we innovate at the same time respect the rights, the privacy and interests of citizens? They are going to, because whatever you are doing in the area of AI, all you rely on is data.
Definitely.
Your data, my data, personal data.
Definitely.
So at the same time, we want to preserve and protect the rights of citizens. So you just to create a balance, innovate and create a balance. But you need to let the operators, the players, the stakeholders, the tech ecosystem who are trying to develop new, bring up some innovations to probably understand the aspect of privacy, to create a balance. You innovate and you protect the rights, interests and freedom of citizens as well.
Thank you so very much for that insight. So what global best practice can inform local AI governance framework?
Yes, one is, do what we're talking about AI now. We need to really bring it home. For instance, at the level of African Union, a continental AI strategy has been developed, and as we speak, about 15 or 16 African countries now have their AI strategies. But the fact is that the level of technological advancement, the level of technological deployment, the level of the kind of culture that you have in your individual countries, your people, how you have embraced technology or new technology such as AI. These are things that you really need to consider when developing your own national AI strategy. And what we have done in Nigeria under the leadership of our minister, Dr. Bosun Tijani, when we were about developing our own in Nigeria, he brought about 120 experts from different parts of the world to come and share their experiences with us in Nigeria, and for us to consider our own peculiarities in the country, our culture and our people, and the maturity in the area of digital technologies, and even deployment of AI. This, to a large extent, creates a sense of involvement that, yes, we are part of this development. You came from your own perspective, they came from our perspective, and that is what is guiding AI strategy or deployment in Nigeria now. We can't just take a global framework and adopt it. It may not work. You need to consider your own peculiarities. Like we did in Africa, we have the African continental framework on AI. We looked into that in Nigeria. We looked at our own peculiarities and developed our own, which is at level of implementation now. And a lot of stakeholders, private sector organization, public sector, everybody was involved. And I think that is what we should focus on, not just adopting a global AI strategy that will not work for us in Nigeria. You can't compare the level of development or deployment for AI in Nigeria to China, for instance, even to India, or to what is happening in the UK or in the US, or even in Dubai. In Dubai, they have a whole ministry of AI.
Definitely.
Yes, so the difference is there. So you need to look at what works for you as a people and as a country before you have your own national AI strategies which you want to deploy. But the good thing is that the world is embracing it, and we're looking at the areas of privacy for emerging technologies generally. And in our own law, Nigeria, the data protection law, it gives us power to regulate emerging technologies. It doesn't have to be clearly stated in the law that you must do A, B, C, D when you are deploying. But when we say emerging technologies, we can issue regulations And we are deriving that power from our law that we can issue regulations to regulate emerging technologies, including AI.
AI.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So how do we ensure ethical data practices in public and private institutions?
I think the most important thing is all about awareness, both in the private public sector organizations. A lot of organizations will invest so much in cybersecurity and completely neglecting the area of privacy. You can do so much in cybersecurity and you may not even touch privacy at all.
At all, yeah.
But when you are doing privacy, you do a bit of cybersecurity. And that's why we keep telling them, you need to bring both on board. For instance, even in protecting data, there's what we call technical measures, which has to do with the part of protection, the private part of it, the laws, the regulatory framework, the guidelines, allowing you as a data subject to take control over your personal data, which you will already give it out in any case. It's a bit difficult to say, okay, you're giving out the data and say that you want to have control over it. That is where the laws come in. That is where the privacy area comes in. So all we need to do is to ensure that we create awareness on the part of data subjects to probably know and understand their rights and know when to even exercise these rights. The right to your consent, rectification, erasure, profiling, everything that has to do, portability, everything that has to do with your rights as data subject. You need to probably understand it and know and learn how to ask questions when those rights are being breached or infringed upon. On the part of data controllers and processors, how much of privacy do you know? What kind of measures are they putting in place to ensure that data in their custody is actually protected? Do they even understand that? What caliber of staff do they have? What level of training do they have? What kind of policy do they have? What kind of policy statement do they have? Even ordinary notice, you have a CCTV camera covering your office. No single notice. Oh, this place is covered with CCTV camera. Something as simple as that. It's not technology now. It's about
Change
the
management,
rules,
yeah.
yes, which is guiding what we are doing. So awareness, capacity building, these are the things that are really key for us to probably understand what we need to do as the duty of care, accountability on the part of data controllers and processors, and the rights to be exercised by data subjects. And for both public and private organizations, it's the same. Since the moment you are a data controller, the moment you collect and process data of, for instance, in Nigeria, of Nigerians and legal residents, you are within the scope of the law to ensure that you put in place measures to protect such information, and for data subjects, for them to do their rights and exercise such rights.
So thank you very much, National Commissioner. We've had amazing work being done around information security management system, data privacy. Very recently, the world is also going around AI governance. Do you think that we should have another, maybe legislation or additional law that speaks to AI governance in whether domiciled at NDPC?
What we have in the NDPC Act covers the aspect of AI, although we didn't measure it specifically, but emerging technologies. We are talking of AI today. Do you know what will happen tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yeah.
So if you had put AI in your law, and tomorrow another one comes up, we will go and amend the law, and we know the process of putting laws in place. If the law has given us the power to regulate emerging technologies, either you are AI, you are Internet of Things, you are robotics, you are big data, it's under emerging technologies, which we can effectively regulate. And more importantly, that we have a national strategy on AI in Nigeria. If another thing comes out tomorrow, we can develop another strategy. Strategies, we don't need to take them to National Assembly for as a bill.
Yeah.
For Mr. President to assent. Just the strategy tell us what to do. But the law, you don't need to put things that are too granular.
Granular in the law, yeah.
In the law. But you have a kind of omnibus clause to say you can do this.
And with the right policies.
Yes, policies, frameworks, guidelines, which you tie to the law, which we already have in place. So I don't really see any reason why we should be talking of another law now. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
because you don't know what will come up tomorrow. And this ecosystem is so dynamic, it keeps changing every time.
Every second.
So that means you have to be putting in place laws
Yeah.
to do the just like changing the constitution of a country. A lot of things, a lot of things are happening around that we need to derive our power from the constitution. Even the NDP Act was derived from the constitution, Section 37, speaking to the need to guarantee the privacy of all citizens. That is the foundation.
Yes.
Now we're now breaking down into specific areas in the law. So the same way we can derive powers to regulate AI or any part of emerging technology in Nigeria. We also have the Cybersecurity Act that definitely has one thing or the other to do with emerging technologies too. So if you have too many laws, it just becomes so complex, and the struggle for...
Some have even said that it's not even the law that is a problem, it's the implementation of it. And you actually rightly mentioned that there needs to be a lot of awareness. How much help are you getting? Because your work has been adjudged. You know, I was at the National Assembly with you, and without being immodest, you were seen as the youngest agency, but the most active and vibrant and the most sought after, you know, under the umbrella of the communications, innovation, and digital economy, which is a plus for you.
Yeah.
How do you think you can be supported, you know, to shape Africa's digital future, especially when it has to do with data, privacy, and emerging AI?
What we did, immediately Mr. President signed the Nigeria Data Protection Act, was to develop our roadmap. And in that roadmap, one of the pillars that is even driving most of the things that we're doing is cooperation and collaboration. That is very high on the agenda. Working with stakeholders from the private sector, from the public sector, development partners, individuals, multinationals. As far as you have something to offer, we're happy to work with you. We don't claim to do it all. We have our expertise in the area of data privacy and protection. There are others who have expertise in AI, for instance. We don't have, I don't know too much about AI, but we have experts.
Yeah.
And it's not until where we have people in all these areas before we can get our laws implemented. All we need to do is collaborate work with a lot of stakeholders. So it's supporting us. And more importantly, I think I need to mention this first. The private ecosystem in Nigeria is just emerging, and there are a lot of challenges. It's very the area of, even for people to be aware of their rights, for data control players to be aware of their duties. It's a major challenge, and we can't do it alone. The staff of the commission cannot do it alone. That's why we're trying to bring as many organizations, as many people as possible to be part of what we are doing. So it's supporting us. I think it's under a partnership initiative. That's what do you want to do? How do you want to do it? Where will the resources come from? What are the timelines we are looking at? How can we measure? How can we measure impact? Where have we done very well? What kind of gaps have we identified? How do we bridge these gaps? Who do we need to talk to? I think that is really important. Through good policies, funding is really key also. And if you look at in most organizations now, not only in Nigeria, globally, funding is a major challenge. But with the partnership that I mentioned, cooperation and collaboration with a lot of organizations, you can get a lot of support from these places to implement whatever initiative you want to implement. And in the area of awareness, which is really key, it's not the work of the commission alone. It's everybody, like, even somebody like you, you're already doing it for us. And so many other people creating awareness on individual basis, on corporate basis, and even at the national level. And as I keep saying, we see data controllers and processors as partners to us, stakeholders within the private ecosystem. Not that we're just standing as, oh, we are the regulator of privacy in Nigeria. We stay here, we issue orders, we issue regulations, and if you don't obey, we come after you. It's all of us sit and look at issues, even when there are problems with data controllers and processors. What are the issues? How can we support one another? That is the most important thing that I think we can do. Partnership, cooperation, collaboration. Where you are weak, we'll try to support you. Where we're weak, support us. I think that's the most important thing.
Fantastic.
That we want from anybody.
Thanks so very
because
much.
in terms of political will, at the highest level of government in Nigeria we have, right from Mr. President to our minister to a lot of ministers and heads of organizations, we have, in terms of political, we have that. So if we have political will, the next you just, if the areas that you say you need to do more, you push and you are home and dry.
Thank you so very much. And I can say that you're doing a lot. And in the ecosystem, we are proud of your work and the work of the commission. And we wish you many more successes. And we look forward to more collaboration with you. Do you have any parting shots?
So just that privacy is everybody's business, and it's just not nice to have. It's a must. It's a constitutional requirement, and it's a must for us to be globally competitive in anything we do as a people and as a country. So I implore all of us to see how we can work together. Whatever you can contribute to the privacy ecosystem in Nigeria, we're happy to work with all stakeholders. Thank you.
Thank you so very much.
That's really enlightening as usual. Please, could we give a round of applause to the National Commissioner, Nigeria Data Protection Commission, for that insightful one. Would like to thank our virtual participants. They've been here all through and through since morning. We're sorry for not acknowledging you earlier, but we say a very big thank you. Quickly, we'll move on to a fireside chat. It will be really brief, don't worry, and it will also be interesting. It's going to be moderated by the Program Management Project Delivery Department of FIRS. That's the head Program Management Project Delivery Department, FIRS, Ajia Alima Usman. Please, could we give her a round of applause? And our guest, who is not so much of a guest, our convener, Mr. Taufik Babayeju, the CEO, iCentra.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, today we'll be talking about a visionary and bold initiative called the Green Digital Africa. It positions Africa at an intersection of technology, sustainability, and inclusive development. And of course, there's none other than to take us through this journey and show us this roadmap than Taufik himself. So I'll just get straight to it because I know we don't have time. So what inspired the vision for Green Digital Africa? And why is now the right time for the continent to adopt a coordinated approach to sustainable digital transformation?
Sorry, my sincere apologies. Thank you, Alima, for disclosure. I've known Alima for almost 2 decades. We were colleagues at MTEL at some point and also worked together at FRS PMO. Thank you very much, Alima, for your commitment to the development of the ecosystem and personal development as well. So while we're having this Green Digital Africa, I was signaling to the media team. Okay, so there you go. It's on the screen. So we're going to see what this is about. So we're not just having a conference for conference sake or a summit for summit's sake. We're coming up with a product from this session that is going to drive the Green Digital Africa. Why this moment? Because Africa is at a critical point right now. We're moving at a very fast pace when it comes to digital transformation, and also we have a very youthful population, so we're at a pivotal space. And you would agree with me that over the time we've been left behind in the different industrial revolution. And this industrial revolution at some point also had caused some climate issues to the world. So we're at a point where we are moving so fast. We have the gaps, we have the data centers coming up, we have infrastructural deficits, but we're not looking at the sustainability of the adoption of AI and all the emerging technology and the evolution of the digital economy. So it is very important that we put into place policies and a program, a set of actions that will drive the sustainability of this emerging technology. And we are not just having conversation, we're having a blueprint of what we call Green Digital Africa that is going to ensure sustainability or sustainable use of emerging technology, especially AI.
Wow, that's quite interesting. You have spoken about the opportunities, so I think it'd be at this point best to speak about, okay, transformation of the scale definitely doesn't come without the barriers that are going to be in place. So what do you see that is the biggest barrier, and how can we practically deal with this barrier?
So we have a lot of barriers in Africa, low talent. We have the talent gaps. We have also the infrastructural deficits. We have power deficits. So also low investment. So when we look at all of this, they seem like barriers, right? But there are things that we need to surmount. So we need to now start asking ourselves, in the problem lies the opportunities. So how do we surmount these barriers? That's a conversation we need to start having. It's not when we get to the bridge, like Nigerians always say, when we get to the bridge, we'll cross it. We're not going to cross the bridge. Okay, we've had a situation in Nigeria where during the power probe, we realized that power turbines were actually purchased that could not go over a particular bridge, and those power turbines were there for a period of time. We'll remember that. So we're not going to cross the bridge if we're not prepared for the bridge. So these are challenges that we need to start looking at. What are the solutions in risk management? We say, what are the mitigants? So we need to start thinking about it right now before we get there, so that we don't get to the bridge and we find out that we're not able to cross the bridge.
That's very interesting. As I think earlier someone was discussing how we have a lot of plans, but implementation is a hard thing. So I think thinking from the problem statement and having a solution that makes sense to everybody at the same time. So Green Digital Africa has 4 pillars, which are policy, innovation, skills, and sustainability. Can you just take us through this, and also how does it connect into the broader picture of things?
Okay, so let's have the slide again. So what we have done here is a draft concept of what the pillars will look like. So even though we're going to be using a lot of policies or a lot of things that we discuss from here are going to be input into the Green Digital Africa, but we on our own, the technical team at iCentra and the Intech Technical Committee has put together what should be the framework for the pillars for this Green Digital Africa. And I'll say to you that they are very, they are quick and sharp. We're looking at policy and governance, and that is why we partnered with the Policy Innovation Center to see what are the policies that will drive, to enable the framework that will drive the innovation and sustainability. So policy and governance is number 1. Number 2 is innovation and technology, which is scaling green digital solutions built in Africa for Africans. And number 3 is skills and human capacity. We've talked about low skill gaps, because we can't AI our way into skills. Okay, experience is built over time. Okay, so we need to consciously develop the human capital that will drive the emerging technology and the digital economy. All right, so number 4 is sustainability and impact. How do we measure sustainability measurable outcome, delivering environmental and economic value, just like Dr. Tayo talked about earlier on. So these are the four pillars that we think should connect to create the Green Digital Africa.
So this initiative is deliberately designed to be co-created. So at this stage, you have a situation where collaboration is key. So how do you envision the various stakeholder groups? And beyond the summit, what happens next?
So everybody in this room were co-creators. Okay, like we said, Intech is not just another summit. It's not just another talk shop. We're building a movement of collaborators. So from the academics to the regulators to the policy and governance agencies, where our job is just to envision what is possible, okay, drive the vision and leave it to everybody in this room, all our partners from NDPC to PIC to NESG. By the way, Dr. Tayo, we're going to be having this conversation at the next NESG, giving us a platform to discuss these. Probably will bring the outcome of Digital Green Africa to NESG to discuss at the next NESG summit. So it's a lot of collaboration and partnerships that will happen. We've identified our partners, and we're still looking for more partners, like the UN, AU, and other partners that will help us to create a Green Digital Africa. Like I said to you, it's not just a talk shop about innovation and technology. We've had a lot of that, right? But what are we doing to shape Africa's digital, sustainable future? And we have created a framework, so we need everybody to plug into it. So we're going to have a co-working group, collaborators, that anybody here that is willing to support our co-creation. So the ideas are going to meet action, and by the time we're in Dallas, Intech Dallas, summer, and Intech 2026, we'll be talking about a blueprint that has been developed for Green Digital Africa.
That's very interesting. So I can say by the next summit, we'll have people from even across the continent and beyond that are involved in this. That's great. Thank you so much for this bold and inspiring vision. And of course, today's conversation, this was the heart of everything, this initiative. And of course, it is not just an initiative, it's a movement to place sustainability, innovation, and inclusion at the center of Africa's development. We know for a fact that we've been talking about it since that technology alone won't do this for us. It's the people that matter in it. So, on behalf of Intech Summit, I say once again, thank you to Taufik for conveying this and also bringing this great initiative on board. And to the audience, I say the opportunity is here, and it will take all of us, each and every one of us, to make this a reality. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Alima.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please can we give them a very big round of applause? That was quite insightful and revealing. Thank you very much to our moderator and of course to our solo panelists. Very quickly, I would like to specially recognize the presence of the DG Yaradua Center, our dear Mr. Amara Mwakwa. Please can you help me give him a round of applause? Thank you very much, sir, for your presence. I'd like us to just dive straight into the next session. I know that we are gingering to catch all of the knowledge we can within the time that we have. Our next session is a mandatory viewing for anyone who's focused on growth and talent. We're going to be tackling the core challenge of our era: artificial intelligence, emerging technology, and the future of work. For those of us who have concerns about the advancement of artificial intelligence, denying us roles that we can take on as career paths, this is a very interesting session, and Our panel will show us how to move from anxiety to action, helping us to convert technological disruption into massive sustainable opportunity across our continent. On that note, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to bring up to the stage our very able moderator. He is the lead consultant, Technodev Projects Limited. Please, can you help me give Mr. Bayo Unimole a big round of applause?
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. So, your next response to me will determine if you will go for lunch early or not. Good afternoon, everyone. So we'll do this very quickly and we'll go for lunch afterwards. So here we are today, we're talking about technology and innovation. Advancing innovation, digital transformation, sustainable development, and all of that. At the center of it all is the fear in the minds of most of us seated in this room. With AI, what will happen to my job, right? So let me just quickly bring on the panelists. I have some well-selected people to help us drive this conversation this afternoon. First, I want to call to the stage Mr. Ruben Oshomo, the Regional Director of Avanti. Mr. Ruben, a round of applause for him. Just let's keep clapping for him until he gets to the stage. So the earlier you get here, then they'll stop. Thank you, Mr. Ruben. Joining Mr. Ruben is Mr. Oluseyi Lala, the CEO of IPNX Business. Again, IPNX Business, they are giving us the free internet we are using here. For most people who have been trying to use their mobile, it's not working. So thank you, IPNX. Welcome to the stage. Joining us, maybe I should save the best for the last, yeah? Let me call Mr. Emeka Onachuku, the manager, Partner Success, Project Management International Africa. A round of applause for him. So to join us on this panel too, a representative from iCentra. Oh, a round of applause for him. Where is it? Why do you make me feel like you are the person I'm waiting for? So like I said, saving the last for the best. Our panel have a female, so no fear. Please, a round of applause for Ms. Lola Ade, the CEO of PIPA, to join the panel. So, a time it was when it was a thing of pride when people say, I can type 50 words per minute, right? Suddenly, those my aunties in that category, I don't know what's happening to them right now, but we no longer talk about them. Now, I don't know who took over their jobs, by the way. But right now, we're talking about redefining skills, productivity, the workforce, talking about upskilling and reskilling, and all of that that comes with it. However, here we are in 2025. Don't quote me because I don't know what will come up next year. People are still afraid of what will likely happen to their jobs because we don't even know what is happening. So for this section, we'll be looking at future skills and the workforce readiness for the next phase of AI. And of course, we'll be looking at education, the upskilling of people, and we'll also be looking at the impact of automation on employment and inclusion, and of course, youth innovation and entrepreneurship. IPNX. I will start with you. Yeah. what do you think would determine the skills and employability status of the next generation of employees?
Okay, thank you very much, and good afternoon, everybody. I think first off, for IPNX, our aim basically is to leverage on technology.
Or maybe I should do it this way. Can we just do a quick intro, just 1 minute intro?
Okay.
So let's start with you.
So I should start? Yes. Okay, so like I was saying, IPNX leverages basically on technology to create innovative solutions that helps humanity to thrive. That's basically our vision. And just to answer your question, basically, one of the things that we're looking at in terms of the skill set that is required for the future is basically the ability to adapt, and that is adaptability. And I'll pull this to the Darwin's law that says that it's not the strongest, it's not the fastest, it's not, you know, the most intelligent that would survive, it's the most adaptable. And that's one of the key things that we need to do when you're looking at the skill set for the future. Now, there are other things that you need to add to that. That's the very foundation that you need to do. Be open-minded and be adaptable. Now, on top of that, looking at what the likes of AI as a technology is bringing, there are different levels of work in terms of the cadre, right? There are some work that are operational in nature. They are repetitive in nature. Those are the kind of work that AI is looking to come in to help. And I usually say this, that for the future of work, it is not AI versus human beings, it is AI plus human beings. It's a collaboration. And you need to be able to work from that perspective to say, look, any of the workflows or processes that are repetitive in nature or operational in nature, those are the ones that AI can help you enhance and possibly take over for the future, while you as an individual now moves up the ladder to something more strategic, something more intelligent from an ethical point of view. Because right now, AI doesn't have feelings. There's nothing ethical about it. It gives you an output based on what you put in, and it requires human intervention to now toe the line of ethics, morality, and things like that. So that's the way I see it in terms of the skill set required for the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Lola, so as a CEO, do you think that our education is AI ready?
You mean school education?
Okay. Formal education.
Okay.
Is it AI ready?
All right. So I don't know that anybody's formal education, any country's formal education, is AI ready. The way generative AI, and AI has been around since the 50s, it has just been in the closet because we did not have, or the scientists didn't have enough data to train the machines on to do the kinds of things it does today. But since the 2010s, when all of us decided to upload our lives on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all those articles, now they have enough data for free to train AI. When you dance, you put it on TikTok. Now you see bunnies dancing and dogs, saluting and all of those crazy stuff that we see now. So I'm taking that to the point of it all caught us as a world by storm. I think that some countries are adapting faster, better. China, for instance, they've passed a law where they are training children from 6 years old how to use AI. When we bring it back to Africa, I think it is absolutely important for us. The reason is this: in the next 30 years, 1 in 4 people in the entire world would be African. So we would make up 25% of the world's population. We would be the most populous continent. What that means is that if we do not train, if we do not find a way to adapt our education, whether we are ready or not, we are behind on a lot of things. Somebody said earlier that a lot of industrial revolutions caught us unawares and we didn't catch up. But now is not time to try to catch up anymore. Now there's a new thing here in place. There are people who are building on African languages. So if we want to say that we did not catch up with the English-speaking revolution, we now...
The well understood challenges of all the things that you face, you know them, right?
Absolutely.
Do you think Nigeria and Africa is ready for the future of work?
That's a very interesting question. And
And
That's why I asked. That's why I asked.
I'll probably be I've been an advocate of talking about these kind of topics. And to answer with one word and I'll elaborate, no.